Will I take over? Okay. Hello everybody and welcome to the 86th edition of my weekly series of Weird Mind Newsroom, where this week we're talking on a small selection of some of the new releases, a small selection of some trailers, and a few choices that have come from stories of the news roundup of media. So let's not waste too much time on this and let's get to delving into talking about all things media from this week.
Baby love, my baby love.
Now the first of the new releases of this week is one that will be getting a little bit more steamy and have a story that may give you exactly everything that you may have wanted. As we're getting passionate, I believe, or may have some more deeper story to it all, I have no idea. As we have the newest erotic thriller of Baby Girl. The film will follow a high-powered CEO, played by Nicole Kidman, of a massive successful company who will be about to put her career and her family on the line when she begins to have an affair with a much younger intern of the company. It's played by Harris Dickinson. Now, reception to this new film has been very well received, with praise to its narrative and performances of leading lady Nicole Kidman, and also for being a very steamy film indeed. With like the one article I keep seeing about this movie is that Kidman could not stop orgasming while they made this film and nothing else, which I mean, go off in pretty much case instances, as women should feel that sense of pleasure with a partner and not just be one-sided or just on their own. And if you want to see how steamy will come to be from this whole picture, then you can check this film out now in cinemas. And as for the second of the only other release of this week, is delving into one that will be focused on family coming together after a long time that may end up becoming something personal, or may end up with them killing each other in the process, as Jesse Eisenberg is getting in front of and behind the camera for his all-new film of A Real Pain. The film follows a pair of mismatched cousins of David and Benji, played by Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin, as they tour across Poland to honor their late grandmother. But soon their adventure becomes a little more complicated as old tensions resurface while exploring their family history. Reception to this new title has also been very highly praised, with many accolades going to the writing and directing of Eisenberg and for his performance alongside his co-star, as well as its themes and messaging of the film. If you're up for something reflection and some strange family dynamics and something that might have a bit of a feel-good vibe to it, you can also catch this film out now in cinemas. And with all of that, that's all the new releases that we have for this week. Now on to trailers. We're starting off this week's two options with a big one, and probably my most anticipated TV series of the year, as we are heading forward for a few short years into the future in an alternate timeline that even when lost in the darkness and the world is overrun with infected, there's still a chance to find the light, even if it may become more dimmer in this season in particular, as we have received another new trailer for the upcoming second season of The Last of Us. Now the plot of this season, of course, will follow the plot of the massive, critically acclaimed and heavily divisive sequel that will see some time jumps, new faces, romances, heartbreaks, and every other part of survival, as they will be delving into the massive story of that game and focus heavily on a different theme compared to season 1, where that one was about love and hope. This one will be all about hate and revenge. So for the time being, as I know how the story goes from playing the game, that I do love and will be doing a separate playthrough on this channel and a video about why I love the game and defend it, and there is a sense of fear and prepping my emotions for the season, as it will be something like the first season. It will be breaking me once again. I'm also intrigued to see how people think about this season and hear their opinions about the narrative for those that have not looked into the games or a series, but from the small glimpse, I'm very excited and also intrigued to see how this will go about telling the narrative, going off how they've shown in this trailer and stuff in specific ways. Now, we don't have to wait too long as well for this, as there's no specific date as of yet, but we do have a release month which will be dropping onto HBO and Sky Atlantic sometime this April. And for the second and last trailer for this week is showing the case when something big is causing a problem that needs to be resolved, it's best to get a bigger man to tackle this one, as the one-man army, as everyone's favorite special forces officer, is back for another job, as we have received a trailer for the upcoming third season of Reacher. Now this season will follow the story of the 7th book in the Reacher series of Persuader, as Reacher hurtles into the dark heart of a vast criminal enterprise in order to rescue an undercover DEA agent while dealing with a discovery of secrecy and violence and confronting some unfinished business from his past. In most cases, I haven't delved too much into this series. I have seen the odd clip or two or a few episodes, but I will get to it eventually. One I've heard from my parents that this series is really good, and Alan Ritchson is a perfect fit for the role of the series character. And also, truth be told, I can honestly see him play the role of the Batman for the DC universe. That dude would be fucking cool for that. And from this trailer, it does look like there will be plenty to enjoy from this new season, and thankfully, the wait is not too much longer, as a new season will be releasing onto Amazon Prime in just a little over a month's time on February 20th. And with all of that, that's all the new trailers that we have for this week. On the first of the news stories for the week is with a follow-up to one of the first events that has already released this year, and that's discussion of the Golden Globes, as the event played out just on this previous Sunday, with plenty of some wins, some surprises, and a few snubs and debates that have come online from it. But we'll have a little bit of discussion of the wins from this event now in this next section. So I'll focus on the side of the films first, where this year's two biggest winners of the award circuit went to the Netflix film of Emilia Perez with 4 wins of its 10 nominations, including Best Picture of Musical and Comedy, and then the other side went with The Brutalist at 3 wins and 7 nominations, including Best Win for Drama, with the other big wins including Demi Moore getting love that she deserved for performance in The Substance, winning that for Best Actress, and another competitor in the animation contest with the film of Flow winning Best Animated Feature over tough competition from Wild Robot, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, and Wallace and Gromit: Avengers Most Foul, which will be interesting to see how this will turn out for the Oscars, and hopefully the Oscars will give a few more nominations for the animation category instead of sticking it to that category. One film that was surprisingly snubbed from this whole thing was the one that was basically running away with a lot of the award wins, which was Anora. It surprisingly didn't win anything, even though a lot of people said it kind of deserved some stuff. But there is one film that has caused a bit of a big debate on discourse online since it happened, which is with the film of Emilia Perez in particular, as the film since its release and its wins has now gotten a lot more backlash as it's faced scrutiny over its portrayal of gender identity and the cast being not from the country the film is based on, and many see as being the case the film wins big and nominated heavily in the Oscars, then it will be a big debate there as well. But I'll need to give it a look myself and see what they're getting at. Though I can see that it may be different explanations for different people, and maybe it's with the director's vision of how they see it as well, but I have no idea. So to say, sure, it will be a debate for people on what should win or lose, but it becomes a debate all the time with any of these award shows, so there's an appeal that does come from it all anyway, so it just happens. As in likes of the TV side of things, we have 3 winners of its section for big shows and limited series, with the big winner being Shogun going 4 for 4 of its wins and nominations, including for Best Series for Drama, which has been the one expected to win big, has been sweeping a lot of the award season. And then the likes of the other 2 shows was Hacks and Baby Reindeer winning 2 apiece, with Hacks winning for Best Series Comedy, and Baby Reindeer winning for Best Limited Series, and for Jessica Gunning winning for her performance as the main stalker girl for supporting actress. Now one other big one that I was happy to see was for Colin Farrell winning for Best Actor for The Penguin, and just really giving it his all as Oswald Cobblepot, and was kind of rightfully deserved. He really gave it his all. But not much of an issue on the TV side of things, a lot of it was well deserved, and I think it went well overall. Sure, there's some debate every year with these award shows, but it's kind of bound to happen. But here's to say when we are back here in about a year's time talking the same things all over again. But what are your thoughts on all this award shows, and what are your opinions of the wins and snubs of this year, and your thoughts on that big debate of that one particular film? Then what you think of us all down below, we can discuss it there. So our next story is a little bit of a mix of some updates that have come from the big gaming company of PlayStation. As this week they were at the CES show, they'll be delving into some announcements that they have made about some of their upcoming adaptations, which include some announcements and an update or 2 for some projects in the works. I'll give my thoughts and a quick little focus on these announcements in this particular story. So the first one of the discussion and the first announcements was that after the smash success of the game since the release last year, it was announced we were getting a film adaptation of the popular MMO of Helldivers 2. So it's a case that, yes, I can understand that it's a no-brainer to make an adaptation of this. I feel the straight-to-film option is a bit of an odd one when I feel it could have worked well with one of these 2 approaches. Either start with an episode from their recent series of Secret Level to get the idea of it, like similar to how they appeared briefly in the last episode of season 1, or the other one is just more of a more structured television show that will help build it out more of the characters and the world and lore of the games, because I feel if it was becoming more strained with development and pacing and everything, if it was just done into a film, I mean a bit like just a Starship Troopers on a bigger budget. And Starship Troopers is a cult classic. But I will see how this turns out over time, and if the likes of democracy has been established well in this final product, then so be it. On the likes of the next announcement, we have a new update on one of the projects I mentioned a couple weeks ago that was in the realm of uncertainty, and that is of course with the adaptation of the game series of Horizon. Now, when I last mentioned the project, the series version from Netflix was apparently announced to have been shelved due to some allegations made to the showrunner of some toxic work environments from his work on the previous show he did of Umbrella Academy. And many wondered if we would see the light of day, and this series was actually get some respect that it actually deserves. Well, now we have finally got an update to the project, as it was announced that it will now be going from a TV series into a full-fledged film coming to us from Sony. So I can see the appeal of this, that it could be worth to see some of these giant mech creatures on the big screen and work well. That also comes to the concern that hopefully it will work well enough in changing to a film version of the show, and that they get a good choice of the cast, and the main lead of Ally can respect some of the set pieces and material from the games while also carving its own story well with a fine balance. But I will give it a chance when it does come around down the line, but I will give hope for this for the moment, and we'll be updating when anything for this does come along down the line in the series. And then to form the only other TV show announcement this thing, besides the announced release month for Last of Us Season 2, we've also received the announcement that we are getting an anime adaptation of the multiplayer story of Ghost of Tsushima with Legends that will be taking its spot into the streaming service of Crunchyroll and aiming for release some point in 2027. Now, I've played a little of the main game, and I will get around to at some point to play a full game on the series, and I've gotten too much in the area of the multiplayer, as I don't really delve too much into multiplayer games anyway, and I don't really have many to play multiplayer games with, but I think this game series would go so hard with the focus of an anime, and I'll be for sure checking this out when it does come around in about 2 years' time. And the last of the updates I have is one that we know is coming up this year, and is actually very soon as well, as we've been given some details about the upcoming Until Dawn film adaptation, and a little context this does provide a little bit of confusion to how it all comes connected to the original games. Now, one of the concerns many had was why was there some lack of the numbers of cast members in the narrative, as it was short about 2 or 3 characters of the group from the original cast that many wondered how they will work this out. But the recent event, they have given a bit of the context to the film itself, as the film is not telling the original game's story, but rather it's a new film that's set in the same universe as that story, but follows new characters in a different location and dealing with some new creatures, with the only characters left to focus and connected to the original story is with Peter Stormare returning as his character of Dr. Hill from the original game, and maybe he's also returning for that supposed sequel that was teased in the recent remake. Now, this is where I question if this is really an Until Dawn adaptation, or if this is more of one of those stories from the Dark Pictures anthology, but just replacing the curator with Dr. Hill, as it sounds like that over a snowy cabin, 8 teens or young adults, and a dangerous form of creatures, and I'll be intrigued to see how this adaptation comes about, and going off the director of the film of David F. Sandberg, he can do a horror well, so here's hoping this actually does turn out good. But with all of that, I want to know your own thoughts on this announcement, and if there's any of these adaptations you are looking forward to in particular. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and we can discuss them there and see how you think this will turn out, and we can do some fan casting or something, who knows. So our third story for this week is in a focus of the realm of some announcements of some supposed planned remakes or teases to something, and the case of a possible change of an actor to continue the story of another character in a massive expanding series. But we'll delve into it as we go along down with these story announcements from the week. So the first of these announcements is taking a new version of a book that has already been seen, a well-loved adaptation over 20 years ago back in 2003, is getting a new take on the series, and that's the form that some may be a little divided on. So back in 2003, there was a little film adaptation from Disney that was based on a book by Louis Saher known as Holes, about a young kid named Stanley Yelnats who always finds himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. They get sent to a boys' juvenile cabin on the Camp Green Lake on a barren lake bed where they must dig holes of 5 feet deep and 5 feet wide every day in order for them to build character, but has a much deeper reason to the whole thing. And it was a faithful and beloved take on the book, and was a starring film for a young Shia LaBeouf. It has been a staple of a fan favorite film for many years. Well, it was just announced this week that we're getting a new series version of said book being made for Disney Plus, and the whole difference that is being gender swapped, where it's now an all-female group being the focus of digging these holes. Now, I do not mind the lengths of it going in this direction, but I get that if it's a whole lot different to the book, I felt that they could have kept it similar to the original book and even adapt the sequel of the book of Small Steps that focused on X-Ray and Armpit, that focused on 2 characters of the original novel, but it's hard to tell the lengths of the simple charm will be missing from this adaptation. Or they dug up another treasure of success, but who knows what this whole project constantly stages, but I'll see down the line how this all turns out, so let's keep an eye on this. Now, the next remake concept that has been in discussion, or maybe a possible sequel or a concept for some upcoming Super Bowl ad, was a cryptic teaser that was posted by Hollywood actor Will Smith. So we've seen him over the years in some big name films like Men in Black, Independence Day, Bad Boys, Wild Wild West, Hancock, Shark Tale, and many more. But there was initially another film that he was going to see himself be a big star of, and that was initially planned to play the lead of Neo in the Matrix movie. But he had turned it down to play the lead in the Western Wild Wild West, and many had wondered if he would make an appearance in some form in a feature format. Well, going off the teaser, it may be the case that Will Smith could appear in this series, either in the form of an ad for the Super Bowl, a planned reboot or remake of the original, or possibly in the confirmed 5th Matrix film that's in the works, or maybe it's one of his new pieces of music because he said he's releasing an album after 20 years. Now, it's hard to say as of right now what the concept is going to be. It's also been mentioned that at this time he's not attached to appear in the next Matrix film, but things could be changing, and I'm sure things will be announced soon enough, but I guess in the moment it's all down to speculation and to open your mind to the outcome. So who knows with this regards. Now, the third remake story of the week is coming to us from the likes of an update to the discussion of the planned remake of that American Psycho film that was announced a couple weeks ago that was in talks to be starring Austin Butler as Patrick Patrick Bateman, as there has been an update that has thrown the whole thing into a bit of disarray. Now, according to the original novel's author, it seems to be the case that this whole remake may have actually just been a long-running fake news story that has gone out of control and that it's not going ahead at all. He's mentioned the case that no film has been discussed, nor the actor or director of Luca Guadagnino has been in contact about it, so it seems that it's all a bit of a ruse and that it is not coming after all. Now, I feel this was expected a little, as the license announcement was not really overblown discussion about the whole thing online like a lot of projects are usually, but I feel it's too much of a popular film to try and adapt again. Now, I'm sure we'll probably made some point in the future, probably be upgraded to modern sensibilities or something, but for the time being, it's best to kind of leave it as is. And the last discussion of the story is not the likes of a film or series remake announcement, but rather in the change of a character actor for an ongoing project. And that relates to the series of Star Wars and the series focus of Shogun. Now, this is in relation to the character that was portrayed by the late Ray Stevenson, who played the character of Balin Skull in the first season of that show. And from how it ended, it looked like he was being set up for another big arc in the second season. But since he passed away after filming, it has been a question of how they will continue that arc, and it seems they may have found a replacement for the role. Now, according to some rumored sources, it is looking like actor of Rory McCann, who played the Hound in Game of Thrones, may have been offered the role for the following season. Personally, it's not a bad choice for this particular role and can do something good with a performance of this caliber. Now, at the moment in this regards, it's not really fully confirmed, but once I hear anything, I'll update in a later piece. With all that, I'd like to know your thoughts on these supposed remakes and concepts and choices, and who would you match them with, or do you see them work or being a complete disaster? Let me know what you think of it all down below, and let's discuss your thoughts there. And our last story for the week is we have a focus on the discussion of a few release dates and changes for some of the projects coming up from the world of video games and films and animation, and we shall get to discussing those now and not waste too much time in this regards. So the first one of the changes came from the realm of the video games, as it was announced at the beginning of the week that the upcoming new entry of Assassin's Creed with Shadows has been delayed once again, but not by too long. It was announced to be delayed from February 14th by another month to March 20th. Now, this is not the first delay to this game, as it was initially supposed to have released back in November of last year, but it was delayed for some final fixes and touch-ups to make it the best game in the series, as many have been waiting for an Assassin's Creed in the time setting of feudal Japan, so I can understand of wanting to make it the best it can be, and delaying it by another month is kind of fine enough as it is. Hopefully it will turn out well, but I guess we'll just see when the game does come out in about 2 months time, but I'm actually looking forward to playing it, because truth be told, I want to play as an assassin samurai. That would be cool. And the last of the changes in release dates is coming to the area of 2 films from the animation slate of companies owned by Universal, with the first piece of news being announced that the upcoming Shrek 5 film has been delayed by about 6 months from its June 30th release date to December 23rd, 2026, which is a bit annoying, but if the film is on par with the first sequel and the recent Puss in Boots sequel, then I am all fine with this delay in some regards, even though I'm sad about the whole thing being delayed again. As for what is being replaced with it on that date, now for some reason, is they are more confident that it is in the third Minions movie that's moved up by a whole year, which does bring a bit of concern in its quality and the likes that they feel people are more excited for a third Minions movie over long awaited return of everyone's favorite ogre. Probably because the gentle Minions meme from about 3 years ago. So it's a little confusing. It also feels a little money hungry from Illumination as already, because another film is already coming out from that studio next year, and that's the Mario film sequel that's out in April, which is, if the first film is any indication, it's going to be another smash success in revenue anyway. So in my head, it will make the latter film feel kind of rushed, or in most cases get delayed again, but who really knows in this regards. All I know is that I'll give it to the end of the year and then we'll probably see about 6 months of a marketing campaign for this Minions sequel or something like that. It's just like the first one, it'll get really tedious over time, but we'll see how this all comes about in due time. But with all of that, I'd like to know your thoughts on these release changes, and do you see any of these doing well, or will they have an effect in its reception, production, and revenue because of it? But let me know what you think of it all down below, and with all of that, that's all of the news that we have for this week.
Oh, what a day.
And now with all of that, that brings us to the end of episode 86 of Weird Mind Newsroom, and I hope you did enjoy my ramblings of another weeks of kind of longer form content compared to last week or two, but there's a bit more this week. So let's get into some updates of what to expect on this channel. So we'll start with reviews. Now, if you might have been around a little bit lately on my channel, you may have noticed I actually have 2 reviews currently out. It is my next double feature reviews I decided to do, which of course was the Wild Robot and Transformers 1. They've been out for the last little few hours, with the most recent one just being out like since Saturday or Sunday in regards, so I hope you enjoy. If you haven't seen them yet, they are available now on my channel. You can check them down below, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my reviews if you haven't seen them already. There'll be more coming down the line in regards. I have some long form ones in mind and a few short ones that like maybe kind of don't have too much to talk on, but I'll kind of give a quick fire like minute long review of them. I'll see how I get down the lines. Just I don't really have too much on it, but I'll make them short enough. But let me just, and I have a few already finished up. I recently watched Craven. I thought it was okay. I'm gonna get to Lion King at some point. I'll get to Nosferatu. There's one or two from this month I probably will go see, like maybe Complete Unknown, maybe Wolfman. I'll see about that one. I don't know yet, but there's one or two from this month. I think February is when it really kind of kicks out a bit, but we'll see that online. Then in case of some gameplays, I do have to get back to actually filming some more gameplays, but I do have the Left Behind DLC for Last of Us ready to go. I will upload them at some point. Just bear in mind they're two parts. There's 2 parts of the full DLC, and then we'll get back to the main story to finish it off. I'll get to Cyberpunk at some point, and get to Mario Wonder at some point as well to finish those off. And then I have a thing. I'm gonna start maybe one PC game, which I think is coming out this month. It was actually developed, like they did a lot of the artwork and the setting design from someone very important to me, and it is coming out this month on Steam. If you want to wishlist it, it's called Ventilate. I think I'll leave it the link in the description below if you want to wishlist it down there, but I think you should support it because it's an independent one, and I loved seeing their development as they shared some stuff with me over time, and I love seeing their like beautiful artwork development stuff like that. So please support them when you can, and I'll do a series in the regards down the line. But in the case as well with the long form stuff, I do have the anticipated media I'll probably do this month. I'm gonna probably get it this month or just end at the start of next month. I have the AI video working on as well. I'm gonna get back to it. I've been have that on the back burner for a little bit, as well as Watchathon. Those are both coming, and maybe Horror Must Bore as well. I'll think about that one maybe, or maybe push that to later this year, but who knows. It's the Horror Must Bore one. But a lot of long form stuff will be coming as well, so keep an eye on that regards. But I think with all that, I think that's everything I discussed this week. So if you enjoyed my content and want to see more from me more frequently, then simply like and subscribe, as I upload new stuff every single week. And I hope you enjoy this kind of entertainment from me. I'm not the most like charismatic, I'm not the most entertaining, but I appreciate those who support me in all the sense anyway. Hopefully maybe try and reach a goal of a certain subscriber goal. I don't know what it is yet, but I'll update down the line. Maybe 150 for like the 2-year anniversary, and maybe by 200 for the end of the year, but we'll see. It's slowly surely getting there, but we'll get there down the line. Maybe by a certain video threshold or something as well, but we'll see that case. And let me know your thoughts as well, everything that was discussed this week in this Weird Mind episode, from the 2 new releases, the 2 trailers, and the mix of stories and the news of this week. Just let me know your thoughts down below, and we can discuss them there about all different things and what your thoughts are as well. I'd love to hear everything about it. But I think I'll leave that there for now. So with all of that, I hope you all stay being wonderful people, have a great day every day, and keep being you because no one else could do what you do. Now in the case instance, I've been your host Sam, you all stay being awesome, and I shall see you all in the next video. So take care, keep being you, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.